It's Monday, November 13th. I'm Geoff Schwartz. It's Geoff Schwartz tomorrow. You were live on Twitter and on YouTube, and we're on your podcast platform of choice. And on Monday, we're brought to you by Prize Picks. It's a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. Go to Prize Picks and use the code GSSY for a first deposit match up to $100. You pick 2 to 6 players if they will go more or less than the Prize Picks projection. You can win up to 25 times your money in any selection. I will be making mine tonight at the end of the show for Monday Night Football. Gabe, I did one yesterday. I went 3 for 3. So good start to the Prize Picks for the week. We went 2 and 3 in our gambling wagers. We seem to be coming back down to earth after going 16 and 4 over a month stretch there. We're still way over 500, so I'll take it. I will start off today with a little bit of an old man gripe. Just, I stayed up till 2:30 a.m. to watch Oregon USC on Saturday night and Sunday morning. I'm still feeling it today. Like, it just takes many days to sort of get over this this like staying up one night too long in your late 30s, and I don't like it, Gabe. I just don't like it. It just, I'm just tired, man.
Yeah.
No one cares.
What I did also, I'm still recovering from. I went to New Orleans and then a wedding.
Ooh, New Orleans is fun, buddy.
Yeah. So, I know you're not a drinker, but 4 nights of New Orleans and wedding and all the food and drink that comes with it. By the time I got to the USC game, I was like, no shot, guys. I know how this ends. I'm not ruining a good night. And I shut it down, and I woke up to a score I didn't like.
Wait. You were in New Orleans. Everyone wanted to watch the game. So it was 9:30 Central, and you just went to bed?
By then, I was in Jackson, Mississippi. But either way, it wouldn't have mattered what time it was.
When we played New Orleans, we would go out to eat before the game, and we go to Drago's a bunch. But I remember this is 2015, where the Giants are playing the Saints, and we went to go eat there, and I ordered a small cup of gumbo, and the waitress said, "Are you sure you want a small cup of gumbo?" And I was like, at the back of my head, like, "Yeah, I got a game tomorrow. Like, I don't want to eat too much." And she put the gumbo down. I took one bite. I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, give me the big bowl." And she took the little one away and brought back the big bowl of gumbo. And then,
sorry, I didn't see it ending that way. I thought you were going to think better of eating gumbo a day before a game.
No. I got the big bowl of gumbo. And then my brother and I did this TV show that probably will never come out. We did like 7 episodes of it last spring and summer, and a food show. And 2 episodes were in New Orleans. We made beignets from scratch, and we made gumbo from scratch for competition. It was fun, man, like to make gumbo from scratch. So New Orleans is a lot of fun, and this show is a lot of fun. And where do you want to start after another NFL Sunday where I think it was 8 games finished within 1 score? It becomes a theme every NFL Sunday.
Yeah, I got to start where all the other take makers are starting, which is CJ Stroud. He is a superstar. He is the MVP. Yeah. He is the best draft pick in history. He's going to ride this thing right to the Super Bowl. No one say a bad word about CJ Stroud on TV today. He's obviously great. That's the big take.
I love how we can't just say that CJ Stroud is playing well without qualifying it by saying he should win the MVP, right? Like, you can say Stroud is playing very well and also not just automatically go to MVP. Like, no, he's playing outstanding. He certainly is, especially because he was the second quarterback drafted in this past draft. There was thoughts about him and Bryce Young, and it seems like he is, at least right now, on track to be much better than Bryce Young. I saw people today, how many quarterbacks will you start a franchise with before you get to CJ Stroud? It's like, whoa, my man's played 9 games. And yes, he is getting better. I'm not here to say that he's not playing well or that he doesn't deserve the attention, but like, Gabe, why can't we just say my man's playing well, Texans are playing well, doing a good job now. D'Amico Ryan's coach of the year, totally on board with that. Fantastic job he's doing. But MVP feels a little strong after 9 games. He's 23 of 39 in this past game against the Bengals, 356, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Like, playing great. And here's the thing about quarterback evaluation, why it's so hard, right? If you watch his college tape, there was one game, the Georgia game, the final game of his career, you saw a quarterback that was different than the other previous, 20 games of his Ohio State career. And the debate was, are we getting Georgia game, CJ Stroud, or the rest of CJ Stroud from his college career. It's very clear we're getting Georgia CJ Stroud. Justin Herbert, he had the same thing in college, where it was kind of like, okay, and then the bowl game and the Pac-12 championship game was like, oh, who's this Justin Herbert? Which one are we getting? That Herbert or the other Herberts? And so this is part of the evaluation process, man. It's just hard to evaluate quarterbacks where the upside was so strong for CJ Stroud. He's very clearly the quarterback he was against Georgia, which is like, for lack of a term, like, screw it. I got to make plays, right? I got to do what I have to do to move the ball down the field. And he's doing a great job, man. I like the way that he continues to battle. He threw a bad interception, didn't matter, came back, still made plays. The team obviously believes. I think the number one thing that is important for this year for the Texans is that you now know he's your guy. You know that right now. So now you can build, Gabe, the rest of your franchise around knowing this guy. The Panthers can't really do that yet with no. Bryce Young right now. They might think he might get there at some point. But I think right now, if you're the Houston Texans, you're DeMeco Ryans, you're the general manager there. He's your guy. Build the team around him now. You know it. That's very clear. But MVP stuff, like, come on. We can say he's good, Gabe, without going to, he's the MVP of the NFL. Like, whew. Deep breath, everybody.
Yeah, I think that having been in the take-making business for a long time, I think that the fact that the Chiefs are off, the Eagles, like, there's just like, oh, man, we got to fill up the air today. Let's go for the biggest idea we've got. And it's CJ Stroud beat the Bengals. Like, that was really fun, and he's on a heater. And then number 2 is like Josh Dobbs. Like, let's talk about him while we got the time, because we know in a week we're going right back to talking about Travis and Jalen and everybody else. Let me ask you this, though. In a couple weeks, they're supposed to play the Jags, right? Or they're playing the Jags.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a surprisingly good game, but also a quarterback who, like, to your previous point, if Trevor Lawrence is a top 5 guy or a top 10 guy, I don't know, debate it all you want. But they're also in that fortunate position of they found their quarterback, they can work on other things. But if the Texans get past the Jags, this isn't fluky stuff anymore, right? Like, then we really do have to examine if the Texans are a real team, if it turned around this quick.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, Jacksonville is 6-3 after getting stomped by the 49ers. So 6-3, yeah. Jacksonville 5-4. And remember, Houston already beat Jacksonville. So no, I mean, I look. I have money on this podcast. We did our preseason things. I don't know if we bet Jacksonville division. We definitely bet alternate win total for Jacksonville. I got money on Trevor Lawrence, who, just not as good this year. I don't know why, to be honest with you. I haven't watched enough of their film to see why, but there seems to be a little bit of a regression this year, which is surprising because Doug Peterson, we saw what he did with Carson Wentz and with Nick Foles in Philly. We saw what he did last season with Trevor Lawrence. It just doesn't look kind of the same this season. So, no, I think Houston, I'm not sure they're a playoff team, but obviously if they can beat the Jaguars 2 times this season, we'll have to consider them, as a team that can be that, that South winner, which is wild to say.
Yeah. So my dumb assessment right now of the whole AFC is the Chiefs and a bunch of teams whose best claim to fame would be like, you're not going to want to see us in January. Like, that's the favorite thing we say about all these teams. Like, you're not going to want to see us in January.
I was listening to a podcast this morning who said, if you were the 2 seed, which of the 3 teams do you not want to play? It was like Houston, Cleveland, and the Steelers. And I think it's probably the Browns. But the fact that Houston's included in that when they haven't been in a playoff game at all, like the Browns, this team has seen playoff success for the most part. Like, they have a team that's very good with good football players on the field, with probably the defensive player of the year, with guys that have coached in playoff games before. Houston is brand new. I would love, if I was a Chiefs fan and they were the 2 seed, for Houston to come to town. Please come there out for a playoff game. The Browns would be a much tougher out. And so it's yeah, the take making this morning on this is crazy. It is wild though. As of right now the Bills still play tonight, but I believe in the NFL standings as of now, Cincinnati and Buffalo are on the outside looking in. Buffalo wins tonight. They move up to the 7 seed. I think they beat the Broncos, but the Bengals are 5-4. Buffalo's 5-4. Indy is 5-5. The Raiders are 5-5 in the most hilarious Raiders way possible. I looked this up today because I just was looking at records. They have been the Broncos by 1, the Packers by 4, the Patriots by 4, the Giants by a bazillion, and the Jets by 4. It's like the worst 5-5 team in NFL history. But the Steelers, Browns, Texans, man, they're winning football games. Pittsburgh has been outscored in every game, outgained in every game this season, and is 6-3. I don't know. It's not supposed to work that way in the NFL. Keep winning though.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin's just better than most guys at this. All right, I'm going to say this. You're going to think I'm messing with you. I swear to you, I'm being serious with what I'm about to present to you. All right, I don't want to have a long conversation about why there were 45 cameras that caught Taylor Swift hugging and kissing Travis Kelce in Argentina. You're not going to add anything to that, neither am I. But this is a real question I have for you. Travis is still at the end of his prime. Okay, he's not shown any decline on the field, but he's getting a little older. We wouldn't imagine he's signing 3 new contracts in the NFL. Maybe 1 or 2. Is the fact that he's soon going to be the most famous boyfriend in the entire world, where he can make however many millions he wants, just kind of goofing around, making stuff, which he obviously likes to do.
It's the Gronk thing, right? You're retired and just kind of doing stuff.
Just to go do stuff, except it's times 100 what Gronk can do because of the Taylor Swift.
Sure, yes.
Does it actually worry you that he might just be like, nah, I got some rings. I'm considered the best of all time at my position. I know I could do this for 2 or 3 more years, but I'll get banged up. I just don't feel like it. And then those couple of years you counted on with him and Pat together go away, all because of Taylor Swift. I'm being serious.
After this season, or
it's not going to be. It's not going to be till at least. No, I would think it's still a year or 2 away. But I think final act of his career could come sooner than we thought.
I think it's fair for the Chiefs, and I've had this take, I think, last draft, because the tight end draft was so heavy in the draft, where I think it would be smart for the Chiefs to start planning for life without Kelce. Mm-hmm. It's still 2 or 3 years away, in my opinion, but I mean, he's 33, 34. He's 34. Like, yeah, that's a fair take that in 2 or 3 years he's going to be done at his peak, maybe even after this year, after next year. I think he's getting more beat up this year than he ever has. He's 34. Like, they got to find a replacement for him at some point. It might be on the roster too. It might be Noah Gray, but you also just don't replace players like Kelce. You don't do that. I saw that Taylor Swift changed a lyric in a song for Travis Kelce.
Yes,
I'm not a Swiftie, but the reaction on the internet seems to be like that was a big deal. Like, is this an official like? I love Travis Kelce type of thing with this song lyric. It seemed like a big deal, Gabe, for the internet, and I don't really, I don't know. It's like, it feels real, like a real love.
I don't know if that's the example of real love. I think people thought the kiss was a better sign of real love.
Well, yes, because I think he stayed after her show to get a kiss from her, which. And then we saw it on camera. We got to see a real kiss. Of all of us cynics who thought this was fake, it seemed real. Like it was a real. It seemed like it was a real thing. Like it wasn't done for cameras. Like she was like legit happy to give him a kiss after the show. I was legit happy because the winner of yesterday was Kansas City.
Yeah,
Gabe, who they did not play yesterday, and the teams directly below them in the AFC all lost. Baltimore lost. Jacksonville lost, and while the Bengals are not below them in the standings, they've been their kind of bugaboo, right? And the Bengals lost. Their Bengals are 5-4 right now. The Chiefs are the 1 seed, clearing out. Now Baltimore hasn't had a bye yet, so they're 7-3. The Chiefs have the Eagles, the Raiders, the Packers, the Bills, the Patriots, the Raiders, Bengals. I mean, they're going to be a favorite in every game the rest of the season. The Bills and Bengals are both at home this year. They're a slight favorite on Monday Night Football. It's Monday Night Football, right? Is the Eagles, I believe. So they're going to be the 1 seed again this season, which is kind of their Arrowhead Invitational back on. I mean, they had a great weekend if you're the Chiefs. All the teams in front of you lost. You're getting healthy, and Travis Kelce got a kiss from Taylor Swift. I mean, what's better than that? No,
it all went pretty well. And Thursday night, short week for the 2 teams who are probably the scariest to you in the Ravens and Bengals, who I feel like it's cool to say they're back or they're not back every week. We alternate. I'm not sure either is back or ever was here in the first place. I don't know, man. Being a Ravens fan looks to me almost as bad as being a Jets or Chargers fan. That's saying a lot.
Well,
these guys invent ways to lose, man.
It is. I think Hank sent us the text of the win probability charts for all the Ravens losses this year. They've been above 90% like late in the game. They were up, I think, 14 points in fourth quarter in this game. And we had the Ravens as one of our picks this week. Matt and I were just joking about like in the second quarter, like, yep, we made the right decision on this one. This is why, I find it so funny when like people complain about good teams that win some ugly games. Like, oh, Kansas City won 27-14. How dare they win? I'm like, they won the game. There's a skill in winning football games.
Yeah.
Right now in college football, Washington has won like 20 games in a row. And insane. I looked it up today. They're 8-0 in one-score football games the last 2 seasons. Washington Huskies are. They've also won a game by 10, 10, and 9. So they've won 13 games by 10 points or less. There's a skill in winning close football games. Now, obviously, if you win close football games, the games are close. There's a chance you could always lose that game, right? But there's a skill in doing that. The Ravens right now are having trouble closing out games they should win. That's a problem when you look at them, for in the playoffs, right? I mean, look, they beat the Bengals by 3 early in the season, blew out the Browns, blew the Titans out, blew the Lions out. The Cardinals game was sort of a late comeback by the Cardinals to cover. That wasn't really close. They blew the Seahawks out. Like, you have to find ways to win some of these closer games. They lost to 3 by the Colts, 7 the Steelers, 2 the Browns. For me to consider you a team that I feel can take off the Chiefs at the top of the AFC.
Yeah. No, I nothing to add there. And I'm not, frankly, I'm always saying this, like, we can save time on certain teams. I'm of the mind now that we can save time on just about every team in the AFC, with the Dolphins as a possible exception, except Germany taught us. I think the Chiefs got them too. So let me switch to the NFC. The team that everyone, I think just out of boredom, wants to try to hype up and like convince me as a contender is like when the UFC like suddenly decides, Izzy Adesanya is like the new face of it. And I'm like, is he? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. The Lions, like, are we just bored of talking about the Eagles and the Niners? Like, why are we saying the Lions can win that conference?
Well, there's a chance they have the 1 seed. That's why I think, right? I mean, you look at the Eagles schedule, the Lions schedule. Lions can have the 1 seed, which gives them a huge advantage. You get a bye, obviously, have to one less game to win to be in the NFC Championship game. Now, do I think the Lions are going to beat, let's say, the Eagles and 49ers in the postseason and make the Super Bowl? I do not, Gabe. So I'm not in that boat as far as the potential for them to be in the Super Bowl. But if they're the 1 seed, then we have to consider them strongly to be able to get there.
Yeah, well, and they have a nice path. I mean, I will say that. They're hosting the Bears. They've got obviously the Packers on Thanksgiving. Then they're at Saints, at Bears again. Like, they should go 4-0 the next 4. Eagles have a tougher path. You mentioned the Chiefs game. They also got the Bills, Niners, and Cowboys in their next 4. The Cowboys, I don't believe in. I haven't believed in them since we've known each other. I'm not going to believe in them until they do something. But
the Cowboys and Dolphins are classic front runner teams, right? Like, this weekend, the Dolphins host the Raiders. It's a 10-point spread. I've already tell you right now, I'm going to bet on the Dolphins because they kick everyone's ass who stinks. The Cowboys are the same way. The Cowboys this year have blown out the Giants, Rams, Jets, Giants, and Patriots. Guess what? Play the 49ers, got their butts whooped. Play the Eagles, did not win that football game. You're judged on those games if you're the Cowboys. Yeah, they're not a contender in the playoffs for anything.
Yeah, so I'm going to say with the Lions, I think we need alternative characters. We're looking for someone else to amuse us. It's like when you're scrolling on Netflix and you're like, I already watched this. Like, can't watch this again. You just got to try to find something new. That's what the Lions represent to me. And by the way, the team most people pick to win their division coming into the season suddenly looks like a winner with a new quarterback. So the Josh Dobbs story, I'm sure they're writing the script right now. Everyone loves to love him. But truly, like, to me, this feels like a pretty good example of a very well-coached team with a bunch of pretty good players. If you can slide a guy literally no one in the league wanted and win a couple in a row, and now you're on a heater and your best star player's coming back, like, maybe the Vikings are kind of good.
So the Vikings caught the 49ers. They beat them 2017. They've won 5 in a row in this stretch. They've
Yeah.
also beaten the Bears, Packers, Falcons, and Saints.
Okay.
So, that those are good wins, and they still have by the way, they have the Broncos coming up, the Bears again, the Raiders. Look, the last 4 weeks will tell us who the Vikings are. At the Bengals, Lions, Packers, Lions. All right. So, I mentioned there's a quality to winning football games. The Vikings should be commended for that quality. They are winning games. They started slow. They're winning games. I mean, Josh Jobs is fun to watch. By the way, I don't know how much of the game you actually caught, but when Jameis Winston went into the game, it was just the most classic Jameis Winston. Like, this is the perfect spot in the NFL for him. He's losing and just throw the football. He had 25 attempts, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Just a perfect Jameis Winston game. The Vikings are winning, man. Are they? Look, if they get in the playoffs, they're going to lose in the wild card round. But them making the playoffs this year would be incredible. The thing about the only downside to this, and the thing that worries me if you're the Vikings fan, is Josh Dobbs is probably not your long-term answer at quarterback. And more winning equals not getting a quarterback in this draft. And then you're kind of in no man's land next season. You sort of, I'm not telling them that they should tank. I don't think they should do that. But, drafting 14th, I mean, it's not ideal for the future of your franchise, but I can't tell you to not obviously play hard on Sundays. And they're obviously playing very hard.
They're doing the classic Jets move, where you look at them, you're like, guys, you're not good. Why are you? You're a winning team halfway through the season. Now you're gonna end up with a pick, way worse pick than you really deserve. Not going to get the right guy, and you're just going to be setting yourself back an extra year without a playoff run. They're doing that, but the Josh Dobbs part of it is fun. What does it say about the coach though?
Oh, that he knows how to prepare his team each week, right? That you know your limitations are a quarterback, and you're able to, design a plan for that. The team trusts you, right? Trust you to, to put together a plan that'll put you in the right, kind of in the right position. He's a good coach, man. He won the playoffs last season, and he's on track to maybe do that again with essentially his third string quarterback.
Yeah, and I thought he was just a writer at the Ringer, but he's a pretty damn good coach. Can we save time on these teams? You sort of touched on them. The Saints. Maybe we could talk about them, maybe not. They don't matter, right? The Steelers, they're 6-3. They are kind of in a good position in probably the best division in the NFL, but I just don't see it.
They're doing a historic thing right now. I mean, they haven't been outgained in every game, and they're 6-3.
Yeah, they remind me of, remember the Pats team a couple of years ago where they were setting every defensive record and couldn't score, and everyone was like, "No, this is the new way to win in the NFL because Belichick."
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. Okay. And so same thing with the Seahawks. Geno's fine. He's proven he's still capable of being an NFL caliber quarterback, but they don't have enough, right, to be a relevant team in the end.
Yeah. Seattle is sort of a pretty mid 6-3 team, right? I mean, lost the Bengals in a game that they're terrible in the red zone. Barely snuck by the Cardinals and Browns and Commanders, and lost the Ravens by 34 points. Yeah. To me, they're a good team, not great. Playoff team, maybe. Win a playoff game, maybe. Probably not.
Yeah. Well, they remind me of a few of the college teams we're going to talk about next. So for the live viewers, let's take a quick break. Very, very quick. Don't even go anywhere. For the listeners, here comes your break, and we'll come back. We'll talk college football, and also get some picks for tonight's game, because you got to make us some money tonight, Geoff. We'll be right back.
All right, we're back from break, Gabe. You mentioned that you sat out the USC-Oregon game. I will tell you that Oregon won that game. I just want to let you know that as we prepare for the college football segment.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about the coach, because I'm wondering if your coach at Oregon might be the next coach at Texas A&M. Seems like an upgrade.
Oh, don't do this. Look, it's I hate this time of year because this is what gets talked about, and it's good for Oregon for hiring good coaches. All right, let's talk about this. Everyone, the thing is, they're a stepping stone school. Okay, so I think Oregon has fired one coach like ever, which is Mark Helfrich. Bellotti was there for X amount of years, right? Won a ton of football games. I think it was 130-ish football games. Revolutionized the program. He stepped aside. Chip Kelly came in. Chip Kelly was 46-7 at Oregon. Decided to go to the NFL. I don't fault him for doing that. He played in a championship game in 2010. And then Mark Helfrich led us to the playoffs. Eventually was fired. He went 4-8, I think, in year 2 or 3. Then Willie Taggart came for a year, knowing his dream job was always Florida State, and he left and went to Florida State. Mario was there 4 years, and he ended up going to Miami, which is also his dream job, right? Mario played football in Miami, won a championship as a player in Miami. He's from Miami. It made a lot of sense for him to want to go home to Miami. It is worth noting that coaches that have left Oregon have not done as well at other places, right? Willie Taggart out of Florida State after 2 years. Mark Cristobal 11-11 in 2 years. Chip Kelly is probably on his way out of UCLA this point next week. I would imagine he's probably out of UCLA. I think they do lose to USC, and it's probably a bad thing for his coaching future. And so I would not leave Oregon if I was Dan Lanning. He is 19-4 in 2 seasons. He has everything he wants in a program. They let him build it the way he wants to build it. The one advantage of A&M is the money. The money. Well, Oregon has money. That's not our problem, Gabe. Like, we have money. I understand the argument of, it's easier to recruit in Texas, and I believe that. It's not like Oregon's failing to recruit Oregon. We're end up with a top 5 class possibly this year, top 10 class. Obviously, a very good football team. So it's just frustrating because we've hired good coaches and they leave, and I don't think Lanning is going for any job that doesn't start or end with Georgia and Alabama. So he'll get a raise from this. He certainly will, but I don't expect him to leave. Dude, Oregon's had 5 coaches win 10 games in the season since 2005. Like, it's a good football program. And leaving it has not done well for a lot of teams. And Dan Lanning, by the way, has mentioned this specifically when he signed his extension this past offseason, that he has noticed that when people have left Oregon, the grass is not always greener outside of Eugene. So I hope he stays. Oregon's a good job, great job. We win a lot of football games. He's built something really, really special in 2 years, his second year. And right now, there are, these the people that make the lines, the power ratings, the lines of Vegas have Oregon second or third, and they would make them a favorite over Alabama and Texas. I think the Bama thing might have changed. I would actually be curious to find out if that still be true after this past weekend, because that was the case heading into the weekend. I think Bama's sort of got back, right? They're back to what they've been. But it's a good job. His family seems happy at Oregon, and I think he stays and does not leave for A&M.
Okay. Well, if he doesn't take the job, maybe Dion will.
That would be the funniest outcome, Gabe.
It would be hilarious.
It would be the best outcome of all time. Can you imagine Dion getting like $10 million a year? And I was at Dick's Sporting Goods here in North Carolina this weekend, and there was a Prime shirt being sold at Dick's Sporting Goods, man. And what's crazy to me about the Prime thing is that, like, part of college sports, right, is like the branding of your team. Like, I buy an Oregon shirt, I root for Oregon. You root for USC, right? Hank roots for Texas, like the logo on the front, not the name in the back. And Colorado's like, you know what? Screw it. We're just going Prime on the front. We're not even doing Colorado anymore. Just straight Prime, dude. It's it's a lot of faith in a coach who is, the team is going to win 4 games this season. I know they started out pretty fast. And hi, I'm doing work again, Emerson.
But can me and Alex have a cookie?
Sure. Ask your mom is home.
No,
it's not a snake again, is it?
The mom is home. She's in the other room. She's working.
Oh boy.
Every weekend, every Monday, Gabe. I don't understand. My kids know how to act. They don't. By the way, if I'm not on a podcast, they're not coming up here. The only up here is they hear me talking. They would never come up here otherwise. For a cookie, just get a cookie. Whatever, man. You just had a day at school. Nonetheless, the Dion thing, I go back to this. The TCU win by Colorado in week 1. We'll look back on it as the one game that sort of changed the narrative of the college football season. Like, we talked about this on our show, like for all year, the hype machine in Colorado was out of freaking control, and it wasn't really indicative of what their season is. They're going to finish at best 5-7, maybe 4-8. It's good, better than last season. But there's like, have you watched the game management? If Dion manages games like he in Colorado, like he will at AM, it would be, dude. It'd be so much fun. It'd be so much fun.
Okay.
I hope this happens. Actually, now I'm rooting for it.
So, the fit is also hilarious. Just the idea of Dion and everything that he's brought to Colorado, which was funny enough in Colorado, to take that to College Station. I'll leave it there. It would be a mind blower for a lot of people there.
It would be so funny. Like, would A&M? Do you think A&M would like ditch all their branding for Dion?
I mean,
they're also
the tradition there.
They're also an Adidas school, I think, and they have they have obviously Dion has a deal with Nike.
Yeah, well, I don't think Dion's going there. I think the most interesting thing to see, and this just to get a take from you real quick, will be what happens with Jim Harbaugh, right? So every day the story sort of changes, but the general trajectory seems to be a lot of people have made up their mind about this guy. I don't imagine he'll be at Michigan forever, their choice or his. So he's going somewhere else where they'll take a winner. New England makes sense. Dallas might make sense.
No.
Or LA might make sense.
I would, if I were Dean Spanos, a Chargers owner, I'd fly to Ann Arbor and just make him say no, right? Like him, you might think Jim is quirky and a little rough around the edges at times, and obviously may or may not cheated. I sort of tend to believe that Harbaugh maybe never asked questions about where the sign stealing came from. Like, I think he just told Connor Stallions, go get me the signs, and was like, cool. Oh, cool. You have them. Great. And never asked questions about it. Which obviously, again, I don't know how much helped him win and lose. The suspension, I don't know what the right punishment is for this. It's never been done before. No one's ever been suspended or punished for something like this. But if I were Dean Spanos, I'd take him immediately to San Diego or Los Angeles, wherever. Remember, Jim Harbaugh won at San Diego. He's won at Stanford. He's with the Niners to Super Bowl. He's won at Michigan. Everywhere he goes, he wins. He should absolutely take the Chargers. The Chargers' job, if it opens up, which I think it absolutely should, would be a very coveted job. You have a quarterback who's a franchise quarterback. Like he absolutely would love to take that job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's obvious that he'll go there if he can. So we'll have to see what happens this week, because I would assume the winner is just coasting to the playoff. The loser has to hope for a bunch of things to go right? Or
yes.
We're not getting two Big Ten teams in the playoff, right?
No, the playoff is going to come down to, basically like so there's a doomsday scenario of the playoff, which is that, Big Ten champion, Florida State, Bama, Texas, Oregon all went out. That's a doomsday scenario, because you have to put Florida State in undefeated, Big Ten champ undefeated. Those two are in, and then you have to choose 2 of 3: Texas, Alabama, Oregon, and we know Oregon's left out. So that would be Oregon just wouldn't be in, because Bama would be in at 12-1 as SEC champion. Texas beat Alabama. Texas would have to be in. Even like I think you could argue that Texas in Oregon's resume is. Oregon just played better than Texas for most of their games this season. Texas will have the better win, obviously, against the Alabama team that wasn't, I think, the same team they are now, but Oregon will be left out. That's the doomsday scenario for the cultural playoff committee. Like, they need Texas to lose and they need Alabama to lose.
Yeah, which might not happen because they look great.
I mean,
so does Georgia, though.
Yeah, Georgia-Bama is going to be a fun SEC championship game. I'll tell you that. That game will be like 3 points. It ain't going to be a lot of points between those in that game, I should say.
I just think we looked up this weekend and we're like, oh, it's going to be the same thing as always. We just got here a different way. The trajectory of those programs disguised the fact that it was just going to end that way again.
It is. Alabama is a good story on just sort of like, oh yeah, they have good football players.
Yeah.
They had a first-time starting quarterback with a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like they figured it out. What a surprise, Gabe. A good coach and a bunch of recruits that were very good and a good coaching staff figured out how to play better football. What a surprise. I mean, USC can't do that. Everyone else can get better throughout the season.
That wasn't nice. That was silly.
I
Jeff,
went to
do what you do best and make me some money. Tell me what to do tonight.
Went to a Charlotte 49er game this weekend against Memphis. We bought this football. Kids were like amped about it, dude. They had the best time. It was it's a good time. I just noticed the football's on my desk. All right, we're doing prize picks now, guys. I told you last night I hit all three of these last night. You pick 2 to 6 players. If they will go more or less in their prize picks projections, you went up to 25 times your money. And it's a lot of fun. It's a fun way to watch a game. If you don't want to wager on it, don't feel like wagering, don't live in a state where you can wager on it, just don't like to wager. This is a great way to enjoy football. So, a couple of things to note here between the Broncos and the Bills. Bills not playing the best of football. The Broncos are off a bye, so there's plenty of ways to play this. I'm doing a 2-player square in this game. So, Russell Wilson has started to run the ball more as he's getting more comfortable in sort of the offense for Sean Payton. And so I'm taking him more than 21.5 rushing yards in this game. Again, the last 4 games, we have seen him with 49 rushing yards, 31, 21, and 30. So he's starting to incorporate that more into what they do. He's scrambling more. He's making more plays. And I think Buffalo's pass rush, which is really good, will force him into more scrambles. And I think that's a good spot to take him here. The other one I'm doing here is Dalton Kincaid, more than 55.5 receiving yards. He is a rookie for the Bills, and he's just seen more targets. He's seen 8, 7, 11 targets. The last 3 games he's being incorporated in this offense as Knox got hurt. 75 yards, 65 yards, 81 yards. He's becoming part of the offense. And if you target him more than 8 times, he will get over this. He catches the ball great. We saw him at Utah do this for many years. So I have Russell Wilson more than 21.5 rushing yards, and Dalton Kincaid more than 55.5 receiving yards for the game tonight.
I like both those picks, the plays. Do you want to get gutsy and throw another one in there? Anything else entice you? You're just going with
No, I hit my one yesterday, which we shared on the social media. I put up there Friday on the podcast. I'm just going 2 tonight. Monday Night Football, I think, is hard to do like a 3 or 4 play square. I'm going to go with 2. I'm going to keep it simple tonight.
Yeah. Now, this is obviously not offered in the game. I'm going to propose to you that we're going to see an all-time Peyton Manning, like face palm, eye roll, what the hell is with the team I used to play for tonight. Like, I feel like that's all they can bring us, is him being upset with the Broncos.
Is this another Peyton Manning one tonight?
I assume they got a Manning cast, right?
I haven't watched a Manning cast all season. I'm not going to lie. It's not my preferred way to watch the game.
Brought out all the tricks last week. They had a donkey with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Really? I saw the Manning do like the one where he's doing the signals for the plays. That was kind of fun though in the social clips. But I have not watched much of it this year. I like Aikman and Buck. Like I like listening to them call a football game.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It sounds like football. I'm just saying the Manning cast is going to have to lean into the Broncos connection. Otherwise, we're watching 2 very meh teams. The Bills have just fallen into meh land. But
most of the national TV games have been bad the last couple of weeks. Then we get Monday Night Football next week, though. We get Chiefs and Eagles, so that'll be a lot of fun. Well,
let's rest up.
We'll do a bigger prize pick square for the game next weekend, I would imagine.
I think you should go huge. When it's Chiefs Eagles, you got to go huge. I want at least 4.
Okay. We could do that. Right. I'll do 4.
All right. Well, lock it in. Give people the promo code, and let's get out of here.
Yeah, promo code is GSSY. It is a $100 match deposit using that promo code. So go to Prize Picks and get it done.
All right. Jeff, I got a little smarter today. Thank you very much for the time. Hope people feel like they understand the league better. Yeah.
I love talking sports. I love talking football. We do it all on this show. I like the addition of the college into this, which is big passion of mine as well. So hope you guys enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk to you guys on Friday. I think Matt is back on Friday, so it'll be me and Matt on Friday. So that'll be a lot of fun. Talk to you guys then.